The picture here coming up is showing the sacrum, and it is where the parasympathetic nerve fibers exits. Now you will come across the thoracic region where the sympathetic nerve fibers exits. And finally, the cervical region where the parasympathetic nerve fibers exits. This is a great depiction of the thoracic region, again, where the sympathetic nerve fibers exits. So just imagine breathing from this place all the time. Coming up, you will see the cervical region, and that is where the parasympathetic nerve fibers exit, and that is responsible for rest and digest. Hello everyone, and welcome to my new YouTube channel, Buddha Boss, where Buddha talks, where you think like a Buddha and you act like a boss for your own life. I know it's kind of cheesy, but it's true though. If you have a mind of a Buddha, then everything is cool, collected, you're not worrying about anything. And if you're acting like a boss for your own life, leading your own life, you're not out there. You have to be in here, right? That's the whole point. So I'm super glad I did this. And, it's life is easy, but we make it hard, right? One of the ways that you know you're in the right direction is by the feelings that you have. Like if you made a decision and you like regretting, like, oh man, I mean, then you shouldn't have probably done that. But after you have made a decision, like I put up my YouTube channel and I feel really good. I don't have that many people, but that doesn't matter. What matters is I did it and it fuels the intention. So today I want to start off with a nice little quote. So this is one of my favorites. I have a lot of favorites. Kindness creates confidence. Kind thinking creates profoundness. And then kindness in giving creates love. Simple, that's by Lao Tzu. Simple but true. And I want to share with you two different things. First is the 7 mysteries of life. What are they? They're actually only 7 words. And it's not like super difficult or challenging. These are like, really? No. Hello. Thank you. Goodbye. Please, sorry, and yes. Why are these the 7 mysteries? Because let's start off with the no. When you learn how to say no, you're keeping the essence to yourself. That's you creating boundaries. Your essence is yourself. When you learn how to say no, it gives values to your yes. So learn how to create boundaries, learn how to really go in if this was right for you, like in your heart. Don't go by your mind. Just go in here. And this is by Lisa Nichols. In order for your yes to have values, your no's need to be said. And it's just a simple no. Don't give an explanation because there doesn't need to be one. And in time, and this is something I'm cultivating still, a no, you know what I mean? Because that preserves your essence, your dignity, yourself, your nose. And the second one is hello. And it's not hello like you think it's hello, but learning how to say hello, that actually opens up greater experiences. Think about it. Have you ever said hello to somebody and you thought about them in a certain way, and then after you said hello and talked to them, they're totally different. They're not what you think they were. Or you say hello to somebody and they end up things like that happen all the time. That can't happen if you don't say hello. That's not to say you say hello to everybody. Don't be afraid to be an extrovert instead of an introvert. And being an introvert has its time and place too, but just keep the other in mind. The third one is learning how to say thank you. By learning how to say thank you, you're actually learning and cultivating value. You saying that what you have, you value what you have. I like value more because appreciation is great. That shows abundance, but value is like, I think if it has like a heavier weight, you know? And the fourth one is, this is kind of interesting, learning how to say goodbye. And this is what I'm learning. When you learn how to say goodbye, you learn how to achieve success and freedom. I mean, because sometimes when you advance yourself either physically, spiritually, or all three, you don't vibrate and you don't do the things that you used to do. You don't like the thing, you're not the same person. And so maybe you have to say goodbye to some of the people or some of the things or some of the places, or your external environment to achieve success and freedom. Maybe you have to let all that, some of the stuff go. But if you don't know how to say goodbye to things that don't serve you anymore, you really are limiting yourself from that true success and freedom that you're looking for. The fifth mystery is please. When you learn how to say please, you're actually learning how to please your highest spiritual purpose. Your highest spiritual purpose can't come if you don't ask and say please. Because when you're saying please, that it doesn't mean please or like you're groveling. You have to be in an open space. That's just basically it. When you're saying these kind of words, it's a constriction or an openness, right? When you're saying please, that you're pretty open, right? Because you're vulnerable. That's why some people are like, oh no, these are all like words that has the underlying essence of being either open, expansion, or linear in nature or non-linear. Okay? Non-linear is words like I love you, please, thank you, gratitude, right? Some are more powerful than the others, but all of them are variations. So when you have a variation of please, I mean that's really open. So of course you're going to accomplish that being at your higher spiritual self, right? Because you're saying these words and you're feeling it, you're vulnerable. The sixth one is learning how to say sorry. Well, it was because when you learn how to say sorry, it's two things. That spiritual growth, and it's in the sorry. It's not like I already said sorry. Can we do some more? It's in. And when I talk about skill set, it is in that skill set. It's not a skill set, but it's in that. The skill set is being able to be vulnerable and surrender. These are things to cultivate. And I will also, I just learned this yesterday or talking to a friend. When you do things because it's the right thing to do, like I used to say sorry because it's the right thing to do, it's not going to work. You're still going to have resentment to either yourself or to you do it on your own time. And you know that. You know what your own time is. But don't say sorry like I did because it's the right thing to do, whatever, and they still have resentment. People have their own time and place, their own mission. I don't know what that is for you, but just realize that when you do that spiritual growth, but also you're refining your I would say personality and character. It's an emotion that continue to happen. You refine your personality into better, happier personalities. Because all personalities is an emotion that you kept doing for an extended period of time. And now, instead of emotion, that actually becomes your personality because you've done that so many times. You refine your personality in the more positive aspects of, she always seems happy, or she lights up my spirit, or you see people, you hear that, wow, she's always this, you want to be identified with that, And seventh one is learning. So this is a big one, learning how to say yes, because when you do that, you're pretty much accessing your higher spiritual self. And I would almost add, so when you're learning how to say yes, you're learning how to receive. Most people, and this is something that this is a totally different way of looking at it, right? So let's say you had a pen that someone needed at the exact same time and you give it to them. Or like you do something for them and that person is like, oh my God, I was just talking about how I needed, and that makes you feel good. Well, it makes you feel good because you received a gift, and that gift was downloaded to you to give to them. And that's why it's a win-win situation. When they win, you win, because it was a gift that you received from a thought download an idea to go this. But it wasn't your idea. It was a download from the universe, heavens, angels, to give this person. You were actually the conduit. So you're saying yes because you're but when people close down and they give with expectation, with something to receive, which is not a gift, then that's when they get depleted, because they weren't open. They had ulterior motives, different intentions. So and then they're like, oh, people are like, oh, I'm tired of giving, but you know what, you're not giving then. Because true giving, like when I was a massage therapist, I would do like 6-7 massages, and I wouldn't get tired, but because I was in the moment and I was receiving. It wasn't. It was a two-way street. I felt good, just as good as the person being on the table, and that's how you should be. Not should. That's how it is. And learning how to say yes, we can practice this by learning how to receive. How does that look like? Well, let's start small. Most people are like, oh yeah, to make goals and stuff. No, let's just start simple and say, someone gives you a compliment. Thank you, great, thank you. And don't say, yeah, no, but I don't. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Do you want help? Oh no, I got it. Thank you. Sure. I practice this all the time. Even if I can get it myself, which 9 times out of 10 I can, well, all the time I can, I'm very self-sufficient. When somebody, a guy or somebody, anybody asks me, hey, do you need help with that? I always say yes, not because of any other reason, but the fact that I'm practicing receiving. And feel you here's another exercise. Feel where in the body you feel it. Maybe your traps are tight. Yes, learn where in the body you feel certain things, certain emotions, because I guarantee you'll feel certain emotions in the body. And 9 times out of 10, most people are so oblivious, they're not even, where, really? Yeah. So, no, hello, thank you, goodbye, please, sorry, and yes. I think I skipped over thank you. No, I didn't. Okay. Too quick for my own good. All right. Simple but good. The 3 components of Buddha Boss Buddha Talks. Mind, body, spirit. But most people are like, I hate that. Oh, live in the light. You do you don't even know what that is? You know what I mean? Like, do you do it? These are, I want some practical things that you can do every day that makes monumentous results. Those 7 are huge. So we got something for the mind. So the thought is the mind. The brain is the mind in action. So how do you feed it? By your thoughts. So we got something for your thoughts, so your mind, right? We cover that with that information, right? Your body. You say hello. Where do you feel it? Or if you say goodbye, where do you feel that? Maybe you feel it on your solar plexus. Maybe like lower. Because that's where usually grief and stuff is, lower, or it's in here. It's actually in here, in Chinese medicine. So look where it feels like. Each word that is incorporating in the body, right? And then now, we're going to continue on with this one. And now the spirit. So the spirit is, I'd say it's equivalent to breathing, your breath, because the spirit's everywhere. Like if your spirit, you can't touch air, So, and the spirit actually combines everything that gives us life. So the whole breathing kind of exercise, it kind of combines everything, right? So you know how people say, again, the line, Jolene, like down through your navel center, all these poetic words, and then why? You know, can I breathe in love and light? I mean, I know, and I hate it when people get all of these, picture the sparkling going down. That I can't picture that. I mean, I'm not visual like that. I feel, you know, and I'm not to say that everybody should feel, but if you're like me, like, okay, it's great and everything, but when I wake up, when I open my eyes, I still feel the same again, because they're not practical. They don't do it. They don't do it in their lives. And I'm going to throw some hard science, and I got proof to show you. So you have the autonomic nervous system, right? Your sympathetic nerve fibers, and then your parasympathetic nerve fibers. All right. So the autonomic nervous system, right? So you have the sympathetic and then the parasympathetic. Look where the sympathetic. So you have the spinous processes here, and then this is where the nerve plexuses actually innervates in through the lamina groove. Okay, this is like a general overall picture, but in here, all of the parasympathetic and sympathetic nerve fibers actually innervate here. And look where the sympathetic nerve fibers innervate at T1 through T12. Just keep that in mind. And look where the parasympathetic nerve fibers actually exit. From the cranial sacral region and the sacrum. Does that sound familiar? Craniosacral therapy, right? It's all of the excretory glands, the eyes, salivary glands, heart. Eyes, salivary glands, bladder, genitals. Okay. So the fibers are long, while the parasympathetic fibers are shorter. Postganglion branches, the sympathetic has a lot so that multiple organs can mobilize at once. And the parasympathetic, very little branching, because the sympathetic has a lot more organs to cover, right? To mobilize all at once. So that's why they have to have longer branches. The sympathetic curve covers the eyes too, the skin, the salivary glands, but they do different functions, right? It covers the lungs, heart, stomach, pancreas, liver, gallbladder, adrenals, and the bladder and genitals. The reason why I had to show you is because, and I'll show you my body, like T1 kind of like goes right here in the middle of the chest. So when you're doing shallow breathing, like if you see my shoulders move up, I'm over exaggerating. That's your breathing in where the sympathetic nerve fibers innervate and exit, right? So when you're breathing shallowly and up here, 9 times you're in that fucking fight or flight response, because the nerve fibers actually exit. That starts from T1 to T12, right? That's the thoracic region. That's where the thoracic region starts, here, the chest. And the parasympathetic nerve fibers, is from the cranial and the sacral region, right? So the sacral region is here by the sacrum in the front. That just looks like your lower abdominal area. That's why when people yoga, when you do all these meditation, whatever, breathe lower down the center. Why? Because that is where the parasympathetic nerve fibers exits. It exits the cranial and the sacral region. And so when you're breathing in through the lower abdomen and really focus on putting your hand here and then allowing your belly to, singers are really good at this, expand and go in, lower belly without moving the shoulder. You're actually activating the parasympathetic nerve fibers, and you're switching from the sympathetic now to the parasympathetic. If you can't do that, there's one more that's surefire work. So if you can't do that, most people can't. They're like, oh my God, it's hard. Practice it lying it down, because when you're lying down, going to sleep, you're breathing in through here, the lower belly. So what I do is I put my hand on my lower stomach and I just kind of breathe and breathe and breathe, and then I go to sleep. But if you can't do that, right, you actually, you know when people sigh, well, you have what is called one of the cranial nerves, the vagus nerve. It's a cranial nerve, and it's the longest nerve in the body, and it actually innervates up here through the esophagus and throat into the larynx and lungs, right? So you can actually activate it. So when you take a deep breath and you sigh, that's sighing, the resonance between the vocal cords, the sound reverberates against the cords, against that nerve, and that actually switches the sympathetic to the parasympathetic. Why? Because the parasympathetic nerve fibers actually the vagus nerve is the nerve that actually switches the sympathetic to the parasympathetic. Yeah, kind of cool, right? So, when I just have people just, you don't have to go, we're doing you don't need to do all that. It's not necessary. If you're by yourself and you're like, that's why people say, take long breaths. Well, that's fucking why, because when you're taking these deep breaths down here, you're actually switching the sympathetic to the parasympathetic from where the nerves exit. When you look at it like that, then you for sure want to do it, right? Now you kind of want to practice it, because I'm giving you like practical things that you can do, science to prove it, of why people metaphysically say all this mumble crap. Yeah. And you can breathe in light because they're photons. When you look at things like that, I mean, it's a better understanding of, oh, okay, now it's something that like, it's tangible now, and some of the things aren't tangible, fine. But, when it comes to the body and like, I find that I deal with a lot of people who want facts and proof, and yeah. So now we got everything. We have the seven mystery words for your life, and filling the mind, body, and now the breathing for the spirit. And I do want to add in, if you guys want to, for those of you that subscribe to my YouTube channel, if you want to ask a question, and you have a question for me when I meditate and I channel, please feel free to write down your questions that you want me to ask them, and I will be glad to answer them in my meditations. I'll read the question and then I'll just go into meditation with the intention of that question, and then they'll answer. That is also something that's available for every subscriber, and you can do it by email. It's zenbody@buddhaboss.com. So it's zenbody, ZENBODY @buddhaboss.co. Okay, and I will see you.